the streets of Victoria, someone had put out a box of free books where I lived in Toronto Street. And I read it a little while ago. It was a slim book of Hindu myths. I'm very fond of the Hindu myths. And this particular myth was about the origin of the river Ganges, the holy river in India. And the story went something like this. There's this kind of cosmic sage in the Hindu myths called Narada. He's a musician, and he just kind of wanders around. He's immortal. He just shows up at any time, kind of tells your fortune, gives you a warning, gives you a pat on the back, makes prophetic statements, and then he wanders off. And anyway, this Narada was wandering around in the Himalayas one day, and he was singing, and he was very pleased with his own voice. He was a great singer, and he knew a lot about music. He's immortal. He'd been studying it for a long time. And as he was walking around singing in the Himalayas, he came upon this field. And in the field, there were a great number of very beautiful young men and women, except they were all, disfigured and mutilated in various ways. They were missing digits and limbs and noses and ears. And he was kind of horrified. And he asked them, he said, what happened here? And they said, well, they were a little reluctant to tell him, but finally they did. They said, well, we are the scales and notes of music. And he said, well, what has brought you to this condition? And he said, well, we've been mutilated by people like you. The way you sing, you're so full of your own prowess that you destroy the actual spirit of music. So poor Narada was crushed, but he decided he would make things right. And he was like, how can I make this better? And he said, well, if you get Shiva, one of the important Hindu gods, who's the perfect singer, and you get him to sing a song to Vishnu, who's another big god, a perfect listener, in our presence, that'll mend the damage you've done. And so off he went. He asked Shiva and Vishnu, and they were obliging. They all sat down in the big field. Shiva sang, Vishnu listened. It was perfect. It was so beautiful that Vishnu melted with joy at Shiva's song. And the melting body of Vishnu became the Ganges River. So I found this story, and I quite enjoyed it. And then I thought, what is it that Narada was singing that was so terrible that it mutilated the pure notes and scales of music? And I realized that I had written that song myself. Everybody loves me, I can see why. I'm a fucking genius. Shit that I said that night we got high. I'm a fucking genius. I'll crush the infidel with my evil eye. And don't feel bad if you're just a regular guy. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. I'm a fucking genius. Your song's not bad, but hey, listen to mine. I'm a fucking genius. And I rule a kingdom in the corner of my mind. And don't feel bad if you're just a regular guy. I make the river flow, which means